As the water recedes, our neighbors in Conroe and surrounding communities throughout Montgomery County are navigating cleanup efforts very carefully. Joining me now to discuss what's being done is Jason Millsaps, Executive Director, Montgomery County Office of Emergency Management. Jason, good morning. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're extremely busy, so we appreciate you coming on the show this morning.
Good morning.
We just spoke with our Rochelle Turner. She's out in River Plantation this morning. We're getting a firsthand look at that cleanup effort, the needs of those people. But by and large, what's the need you're seeing from folks across the community?
It's the same thing that Rochelle's been talking about. We have a large number of folks that in the River Plantation specifically, but all throughout this watershed where this flood event occurred, is folks that are somewhat used to flooding, unfortunately. And as they start mucking out and going through the process, they've got a huge need to get rid of the debris. I see that from Rochelle's reporting, there's debris already out at the curbside, but we need to get out the message that debris needs to be separated. It has to be separated from hazardous waste, construction material, appliances and furniture and electronics. That will help us speed up the debris pickup process. In addition to that, if they're insured by a flood insurance through the National Flood Insurance Program, their contractor who comes in and helps muck out the house and rebuild the home needs to remove the debris under that contract, because if there is a flood insurance claim, their debris removal may become an issue at that house because they were paid for part of the debris removal. So debris removal from the county is going to be specifically for those who are uninsured and have significant losses. And so we need to make sure folks that are filing claims and using that flood insurance to fix their problem at their house, that their contractor is doing what they quoted them to do and removing that debris as well as we go through this process. Today is Commissioner's Court in Montgomery County. I'll be talking with the commissioners this morning about debris removal. We have a contractor that's on contract for this process, and we'll be hopefully enacting that contract. It's going to take a couple of weeks to get the contractors and the monitors and the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality and all the partners together to get this plan in place before we can actually start picking up debris. So it gives homeowners time to get it out to the curb, but it's going to be there for a few weeks. So now is the time to get it separated in the proper categories. Make sure your contractors, if you have them, are doing their job as part of their quotes. And once we get this enacted and ready to go, we'll have the debris companies give us a timeline for pickup and where they're going to start first as they process through this. And we'll disseminate that out to the public to let them know when their neighborhoods are going to be picked up for debris and get that out of the streets.
Yeah, it's good to know though that this can take time, so just be patient. Be patient with
Zach, it's a meticulous process, and when you're in dealing with federal claims under public assistance and individual assistance, which we're still yet to get from the disaster declaration, debris is a very specific thing because it's considered hazardous material, so it has to be separated, and there's a meticulous process that's in place to account for it and make sure it's disposed of properly. If we don't do that as a county, we lose our chance of getting reimbursed for this pickup from the federal government, so we have to do it right the first time. That's what takes a lot of time, and it slows down the process. So we ask homeowners to be patient with us, and we'll get it done. The commissioners are already very eager to get it started, but if we spend the money to do it and do it wrong, we lose our opportunity to get the FEMA claim to pay for that, which also hurts the county if we can't get that FEMA disaster declaration for individual assistance for the homeowners that are suffering that did not have insurance.
Yeah, that's really great perspective. Jason, talk to us about the areas most impacted and the number of people rescued and animals as well.
So we'll start with the rescues. We have two categories. We're going to just use the term rescue, but some folks did not need rescuing per se. They just needed evacuations from their home. We had motorists that were stranded due to going around barricades or driving in high water. Those were true rescues. And then there was a few swiftwater rescues in subdivisions as people tried to walk out and got caught up in it. No one was hurt in this process, but we're still compiling numbers, but the number I have this morning is 330 water incidents that evacuated over 400 people and animals. The majority of those had alternative arrangements made already with family and friends or neighbors to find shelter. At the height of this, we had 49 people staying in our shelters in Montgomery County. That has now gone down to 0, which is a good thing. People are either returning home or have alternative arrangements to be in a more comfortable setting than a cot in a shelter. As this area of impact, though, if you live along the West Fork of the San Jacinto, the East Fork of the San Jacinto, Peach Creek or Caney Creek, you likely, depending on where you you live in proximity to those waterways, you are likely taking in some damage. And so we have a very defined area. The governor was in town yesterday. Judge Keogh and myself, along with other elected officials, met with the governor for a long time discussing rescue and operations as well as recovery operations. And the judge and I have had 2 times to fly overhead and look at the impacts from the air. We will have Texas Division of Emergency Management employees out in the field today, along with other first responding organizations from Montgomery County, helping with damage assessments. But it's imperative that the homeowner goes online and does the self-reporting damage assessment themselves, as well as the public entities that may have had damage do the public damage assessments. Those are your school districts, your county agencies, your city agencies, your fire departments, any of those that took damage to their physical property as well needs to do those damage assessments. Those are what we need to validate. If you heard the governor yesterday say we need about 850 homes that received non-insured losses in order to get individual assistance declaration from FEMA, which is a presidential level disaster declaration, and that's statewide under this disaster. That's something that we think we may have, but until we validate it and certify it, we won't get that disaster declaration. And so those damage assessments are so vital. If the homeowners do them, that lets us know that they took damage, and then we have someone come out and certify that damage so we can then certify that home as part of the count and hopefully get that individual assistance disaster declaration to help these folks.
Jason, I'm so glad you brought up physical property. You know, you threw out the number 850. Do we know ballpark figure on how many homes are damaged? And of those homes, how many were destroyed, if any?
Not yet. We're still doing those assessments, but there's 2 categories. You have homes that have been damaged or substantially damaged, and then you have homes that are damaged and substantially damaged that have flood insurance. So the governor threw out that number yesterday that as of yesterday, 500 flood insurance claims have been filed. No matter how damaged those homes are, that number won't count towards that individual assistance certification number that we need in order to get that disaster declaration from the president. And so these have to be uninsured losses. And in some of these areas throughout the state that are flooding, you have folks that flood repetitively, and they're required to obtain and maintain flood insurance in some of these cases. So it's going to be a balancing act between the non-insured and the insured properties to get us to that number. It's going to be meticulous across 91 counties in Texas having to go through this process. A large amount of it's going to be Montgomery County, Liberty County, San Jacinto County, Polk County, and Walker County, but it's going to take time to get them certified. So we ask for the patience there. I know homeowners are begging for assistance. Counties are just not capable of providing that assistance at our level. That's why we are so dependent on the federal government to come in with these disaster declarations. But in order to certify it, to get it, we have to go through door to door basically and certify the damage assessments that the homeowners provide to us. And right now we haven't had a lot of homeowners in Montgomery County fill out that self-reporting damage assessment tool, and it is imperative that they do so. You can get it at damage.tedum.texas.gov.
Okay, Jason, I know we've talked about a lot, and this, of course, is a lot to have to deal with, and so many people are impacted. But for people in need, for people who are wanting to get involved to help those in need, is there a one universal place where folks can go to get involved, whether it's for assistance or to help those in need?
It's really through word of mouth. We've gotten so good at this in so many jurisdictions that the Cajun Navy, for instance, they come in before we even have to ask for them. They know what is needed here, and they start hitting those low-lying areas. They've been here for several years during several storms. The volunteer organizations, they are already out in the community. The Southern Baptist Men Group are out helping muck out homes. I think I heard Jamie from the River Plantation Homeowners Association in Rochelle's reporting earlier say that they have a process in place there. River Plantation does this often, and other than the folks that rent there, the folks that have lived there their entire lives understand this process, and they're helping, and we'll support them in any way we can. I have muck out kits that have been ordered through the state and other jurisdictions and nonprofit organizations delivering muck out kits to us today, so we can start distributing them out into the community as quickly as possible, either today or early tomorrow. And so if you are willing to help and volunteer, reach out to some of these organizations who are providing these services and let them know you're willing to volunteer, because the county cannot coordinate those efforts on private property. So that's why we rely on those volunteer organizations to come in and do that heavy lifting for us, because they have the processes in place, they have the personnel in place that are trained, and then they know how to train their volunteers.
Yeah, a lot of good information here. You know, you bring up Texas Baptist Men. They now call themselves Texans on Mission. I followed them to Poland twice to cover the Russia-Ukraine war, but the work they do here throughout the states is really, truly incredible. One of the nation's largest emergency relief organizations. But as you mentioned, there are so many. Just get involved if you're compelled to do so. Jason, as always, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on the show this morning.
Thanks, Zach. Good morning.
Absolutely.